Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to this Green Gown Awards Exchange webinar. The title of this exchange webinar is How to Dress a Rabbit to Win Awards, which is the most interesting title I think we've ever had on the webinar, so there's the benchmark. And it'll last approximately 40 minutes depending on how many questions you do have, so please, we do welcome questions. Thanks for registering, and we're really pleased to say that this event was fully booked, which is really, really good, which is why I'm hoping lots of people will come on eventually. And we would like to say a really huge thank you to Colin Sherlock, who is the Student Engagement and Enrichment Officer from Walsall College, for presenting today. Like I said in the chat box, this is his first webinar, so we expect you all to be very kind. My name's Lisa, and I'm the Membership and Communications Manager at the EAUC. And as you hopefully know, the EAUC delivered the Green Gown Awards, which are also governed by a cross-agency steering group. We do actually have Helen Exton on the webinar today, who is the Green Gown Awards project manager for us. So if you do have any general questions about the awards or what you need to do next, then please do ask Helen questions at the end. So what are these exchange webinars? They're free lunchtime webinars on a range of sustainability topics, including Green Gown Awards. Anyone can present a webinar, so just get in touch if you have an idea or something to share. Give us an email at sustainabilityexchange@eauc.org.uk or email me. You will have my email address. This particular exchange webinar is part of a series of Green Gown Award webinars which feature winning and highly commended institutions from the 2013 awards. A major part of the awards ethos is the dissemination of the good practice. So we do ask all finalists to create videos and case studies so we can share these with the sector. And you as finalists can use them to share your success internally, which we hugely encourage you to do. This webinar has been created to help our finalists understand how to create videos without thinking that you need a huge budget. And Colin's got some really great hints and tips to share. More information about the Green Gown Awards can be found on the EAUC website and exchange. Just a little bit of housekeeping for you. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. Like I said, I have muted you to avoid any background noise so you can hear Colin's great advice clearly. If you do have any issues at any point during the exchange, please do message me in the chat box and I will do whatever I can to help. There are a couple of really short videos in the webinar, so sometimes they don't come across amazingly over WebEx, so we will share those afterwards, so just bear with us. They are very, very short. Hopefully you have working microphones, so if you do have any questions, you will be able to speak up at the end and say them out loud, or if you feel like you want to put them in the chat box and I will read them out, then that's absolutely fine. We do ask that questions are asked at the end, and I'll let you know, and again, we can ask any questions to Helen too. The webinar is being recorded, so for the people who couldn't make it on the webinar, or if you want to view it again or share it, it will be on the event page that you booked on the EAUC website and also on the exchange afterwards too. And you'll also be sent a short survey to gain your feedback on any other webinars you feel that we could run, or if you have any other feedback on the webinar. So that's luckily it from me, and I will now say thank you to Colin and hand over to him to start their presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Colin Sherlock, and welcome to my webinar, How to Dress as a Rabbit to Win Awards. Now, just bear with me a second. I have to switch to screens on this thing to show up. Hopefully now you can all see the PowerPoint I've got on. Right, who am I? I work for Walsall College, Student Experience Officer. We cover things like the Students' Union, volunteering, very broad job description, what can sort of start in the morning listening to students complaining about chip prices and then dressed as a carrot. A little bit about myself, I'm quite technically literate. I'm quite happy using things like the advanced functions on Microsoft Office and things like that. But I must stress that the stuff I use to make the movies is very, very family and user-friendly. It's the sort of thing that they let kids play with at schools, primary schools and everything like that. And I do apologise, it is a little Apple heavy, so if you've got any Android users, Apple haters out there, I apologise in advance, but there is a lot of stuff that I do on things like iPads and iPhones and MacBooks. It's just what I have, and then I find it quite simple to use. Anyway, so I heard that some of you are apparently put off from creating films due to the vast budgets needed. So I'll tell you now how we do it on a shoestring. So let's start with a plot. Before you start any sort of movie, just sketch a very general plot of what you're going to say, what you need the judges to see, what talking heads you need to film, that sort of thing. We only had probably one talking head, apart from the rabbit, of course, in our movie. It's just a very short one. The rest of the movie was basically live action footages linking photo slideshows with music on top. It was a very simple thing. It only took us about a day at 2 different campuses. So again, you know, it doesn't take a lot. Remember, you don't have to film in the correct order. So anything you forget can always just be shot afterwards and inserted in the appropriate place. And like I say, our entry film used a mix of live action of both the montages, and we used the sort of the rabbit montages and footage to link the different projects we've done and showed them as photo slideshows. We also did in the past a campaign to get people out of lifts and using the stairs, and it was put forward by a student in a wheelchair. And again, the sketch out for that was basically a to-do list. We, show a student being prevented from entering the lift, showing being late to class, showing using student voice to get his sort of, point across, show other students seeing what it's like to be in a wheelchair for a short time, and then finally show bullies seeing the error of their ways and running up the stairs for the Rocky theme. Okay, basically we just went out with the same group of actors, just sort of filmed what we needed, and we got the film together quite quickly. Anyway, where to start? Who to put in your film? Our entry was about staff and student engagement, so we used mainly staff and students from the college, mainly students. We went to the student garden. We knew students were working that day in the garden, so we asked them to take part. We then filmed students around the college as well, just to do, like, say, the chappie talking about being in the kitchen there at the top, and also some construction students who helped build the garden. Then we went back to the garden students. We asked them to pose with different items to use, like, to link the different photo slideshows. It's not particularly difficult to get student volunteers to do something with the camera, especially if it's a bit daft. The black and white images on this are from the campaign filmed by Get Students Out of the Lift. Sam, the student behind the campaign, was happy to take part, and we got students in the exec and their friends to act out the other roles. Bruce, the bully in the film, could never be accused of underacting, chewed every bit of scenery he saw. We actually get students to film most of the clips as well, get them involved in it. The only thing is make sure they don't have shaky hands. The next page will actually show what happens when that happens. Also, the top left image, we do a Student Union Christmas card every year where we get students just to sing a Christmas song. We video it and then we send it out to all staff and students at the college. Again, simply we send out an email in the morning telling students to turn up, and they all come along and are willing to sing and dance on camera. Finally, the animals in the film, they are mostly staff. It's not because we couldn't find anyone to dress up, but because we wanted to do it. Okay, that's sort of people we are. Incidentally, the construction students on the right, I did actually go along with the intention of filming them, but I pressed the wrong button on the camera and then to get them a few photos. So I just used it anyway, but put captions on the top. And this is a short bit from our Children in Need Pudsey video. Now, if you've got your earphones in, the music might come out quite loud or it might not come out at all. So I'm warning you in advance, there might be loud music. But this is what happens if you give the camera to someone with shaky hands. And that song's now going to be in your head all day. Right, equipment. This is the things that we use for all our filming. We have a small Samsung digital camera and a Sanyo Exactly-1. These we use with or without a tripod. And then we've got an iPad and iPhone. You do end up with a variety of different sort of file types when using lots of different devices, but there are free sort of video converters that I'll speak about in a bit. So whatever editing software you can use, you convert them into the correct sort of file type to put them in it. Going back to the lift campaign, that film was done entirely with an iPad, from filming, the editing, the lot. The only thing, I use the PC just to grab a bit of music and put in, but otherwise the whole thing is done completely with an iPad. I've got to use an Apple MacBook now, which makes it a bit easier, but again, it just shows to show what can be used with the basic sort of stuff. Locations. Again, I've just taken a few little bits from our Children in Need video. We went around the college with Pudsey and basically asked, please dance with Pudsey and we'll film it. Everyone was quite happy to do it. We've also got a student lounge in the area we are, and there's a student garden which helps, but we just go wherever the muse takes us. It can get a little trickier in public places like town centres, but again, if you let people know that you're filming, they can either stay or just get out of the way. Onto the shoot itself. Like I said before, make use of everybody there. Get them all in the shot, get them all acting or behind the camera or holding a microphone or something. It's important because everyone's happy then, and it is about student engagement. Take lots and lots of footage. Don't worry if you get a little bit wrong or somebody says the wrong word. Just film it again. You can get it all corrected in the editing suite. And also don't worry about the different devices. Like I say, we've got this conversion software, so if you film things with an iPhone, then a camera and stuff like that, you can all convert it to whatever you need to use in the editing software. Again, my apologies if I am going a little quickly with some of the technical parts. It can be taken care of in editing afterwards, the questions and things like that, but I don't want to keep you for hours discussing the finer technical points. And like I say, if you miss something and the camera that you borrowed to film it has gone back to the technical department or something, just whip out your smartphone, do the filming that you need and use that. Don't forget, at the end of the day, this is going to be published on YouTube and it's not going to be shown on HD TV or anything like that. Not necessarily in the right order. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what you film, what order. When you go to the editing, you can just put things in the order you want them. And don't worry about your sound quality either. You record what we did with the rabbits and everything. I hope you might have actually seen our video that went with the entry last year. On the day, it was quite windy and you couldn't hear what the rabbit was saying. So we just asked the rabbit to actually just say the lines again in the comfort of the office, and then we just put that on top of the original film, so it looked as if they were saying it on the day. And again, it doesn't take a lot. These software that we use, they're designed for children, families, and everything to use. So don't be worried about that. Incidentally, My Fair Lady, I put that down there because in the original film, Audrey Hepburn's voice was judged inadequate, so all the songs were sung by someone called Marley Nixon. Yes, thank you, Wikipedia, for that little piece of information. Yes, so sort it all out with editing. So you've got your shoot, you've got all your footage, you've got various different vocal clips and things like that. So now you have to stick it all together to make a film. Now, like I say, apologies for any people who don't like Apple, but I mainly use a thing called iMovie. Originally I used to use it on the iPad, but now I've got to use the MacBook as well from the college. So I do it on that. It's a little bit better, there's more options, things like that. The iPad version though is perfectly fine. Again, it's designed for families, okay? The only thing with the iPad is it's all done with your fingers, so if you've got great big stubby fingers, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do some of the fine tuning than if you've got a mouse. And I also use iTunes as well for editing little bits of music and clipping. And so again, because it's all Apple, it does tend to work together quite well. If you don't have any sort of Apple devices, there is a thing called Windows Movie Maker. It is free. Here. Now, you've put at the bottom, the current one is called Windows Live Movie Maker. It's part of their Essentials collection. However, if you go onto Google and type Windows Movie Maker 2.6, which is a previous version, it is a lot better, a lot easier to use. There are more options, so it's worth getting. Like I say, it is free. Right, converting. You've got Sanyo cameras, Samsung, you've got Apple stuff, and you want to all put it in something that, whatever editing software you've got can be read. So we use a thing called FreeMake. It's right there in the title, it's free. You just input a video into it, a file, and then it will convert it into whatever you want, to an AVI file, to WMV, to an Apple thing. You can do it straight onto DVD. It'll also convert audio as well. And the great thing about FreeMake as well is that you can actually clip the file before you convert it. So you can just choose the bit you want and then convert it. And it will also rotate things as well. So if you've filmed everything upside down by accident, you can convert it and put it in the right way. There's another one called Handbrake. Again, does very, very similar. It's a little bit more complicated to use, but a lot of presets. So if you are putting something on an iPad, you put the original file in and then click iPad there, and it automatically converts it for you. Again, it's free. Okay, like I said, we used photo slideshows between the live footage, and for that I used a thing called iPhoto. I used to use the iPad version, now I use one now. Very similar though. What you do is you insert a whole bunch of photos that you want to put in, and then you select either a piece of music, or in the case we were doing like an NES Awards nominations, we had people talking. So I just got clips of people talking about this person, and then told it was like about 3 minutes long, and then the photo slideshow was automatically then made to fit the talking. There, fit slideshow to music. That's all you do. So you put things in, you put either music or vocal clips in and fit it to music. And then when you've got that, you save it as a movie clip and insert it in your editing software. There is a thing for Windows called Microsoft Photo Story. They don't make it anymore, however, it's still freely available out there, free as well. It works perfectly well. It's the same sort of thing. You put a bunch of photos in, you can zoom in, zoom out them, you can put music on the top or voice or whatever, and then you can save it as a file and you use it in your final film. Very simple to use. This, again, you might get a bit of sound depending on your setup, but so yes, so that's that. It's just people talking with the photos going in the background. I discovered, along with many other Google applications, a thing called Photo Slideshow. It's on their YouTube page. If you go to youtube.com upload, you'll see on the right hand side a thing called Photo Slideshow. You upload a bunch of photos, you can put music on it. Only problem is the finished file is then put onto YouTube. You can't do anything else with it then. You can't work with it in another editing software. But purely if you're creating a photo slideshow that goes online onto a file sharing site like YouTube, it's dead simple. The video editor also at the bottom, that is for existing YouTube videos. So if you've got a video on YouTube and you want to add something to it or take something out, then that is the one for that. Right, music. You want to put some music into your thing. One of the best bits of when we're doing our little films is choosing appropriate pieces of music. For instance, there was a bit about the Chelsea Fringe. We did a display for the Chelsea Fringe last year. So, of course, the music for that was Elvis Costello, I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea. Anyway, a little grey area here. You can, of course, purchase your own music. Go to iTunes, pay 79p, 69, 99p, whatever, for the song you want, and then use that. However, we sometimes tend to use this other method. You go to YouTube and find a music video of the song you want, and then take the web address, cut the website address off the top, and then you insert it into something called a YouTube MP3 video conversion tool. Type YouTube to MP3 into Google, several come up. This is just the one we've tended to use. This gives you then an MP3 of the video. Then, like I say, I use iTunes then to take a certain portion. So if I just want the chorus of that song, I import the MP3 into iTunes, which is the case you're just dragging it in there. I right-click on the song and then get info. And under the options, you can set a start time and end time. So if you just want 14 seconds, the chorus of the song, that's how to do it. So when you've clicked OK, then you create a new version of the file. So you've still got your original 3-minute one. This creates a new 14-second version of the file, which when you go back to iTunes, you'll see them next to each other. So you've got the original one and your 14-second one. So if you've got a 14-second clip you want music over, you just then put that in your film. Another audio software, again, it's free, it's called Audacity. It is a lot more complicated than some of the other ones. A lot of the icons on the top, I have the faintest idea what they do. However, I have figured out how to take clips, cut the clips I want out from a song, save them as other files, and then, you know, fade in, fade out, that sort of thing. Like I said, I don't know what most of the stuff down here, but I get what I want out of it, and it's free. Right. I've done a little sort of screen recording, doing a very basic sort of editing job now. I don't think there's any sound with this. You don't have to worry about sort of muting. This is iMovie. At the bottom of the screen is your timeline, and at the top is where your clips are. So you've imported your clips with the little mouse will go up to the top and point at the import button. There it is. So I've already imported. These are some of the Pudsey clips we did for our Children Need video. They were already on. So if you want to put something in your timeline, choose the clip you want, just click on it and then press the plus button. And then it jumps to the bottom and sticks it in there. It's about 4 seconds long. I don't want 4 seconds, so I just go to the end of the clip and drag it backwards. So it's 2 seconds long. Right, now I want a second clip. So I go back up to the top and have a look. And we've got some hair and beauty students dancing along with Pudsey as well. So that jumps on there. Again, it's a little bit too long. So I drag it back to 4 seconds. Oh, a bit too far, go back. So now we've got a 4-second clip of Pudsey dancing with 2 different groups of students. Now, I want to put a title on this little thing to let people know what the clip's about. You go to titles, and just double click on opening titles. There's lots of different ones. There has to be an opening title. For some reason it puts it at the end, but you just drag it backwards over the particular clip that you want. Come on, off you go. Oh, try again. There it is. And obviously the film, I don't want it to be called opening title, so I'll call it something different. Pudsey. Okay. And I don't want the title to show over the whole clip, so I'll just shorten it exactly the same way that you shorten the clip, just a couple of seconds. So now the title is over the top of that starting sequence, but then disappears. Right. Next thing is I want a transition between the 2 different clips, so you can tell when you're moving from one thing to another. Click on transitions. There's loads of different choices. Some of them are very fancy. You've got curtains and all sorts. But what I'm going to put in is like a mosaic thing. It just breaks the screen into little tiles and then splits it up. And I'm going to make it last for 2 seconds. So when you make it last for 2 seconds, it does actually shorten the other 2 clips around it a little bit. Last but not least, the clips have got sound on them. Mainly someone shouting at the people, dance, dance people, dance for the big bear. So what I've done, you right click on the clip and then detach the audio from it. And if you click on the audio, you can just delete it. Because I want to put my own song on that. I don't want to listen to people telling me, you know, dance with the bear. So we'll go back to our imports. And just so happens there is a short 4-second clip there. So I click plus on it. And you can probably guess what this song is. There was a little clip of it earlier. And then you share it. You go to save, share, and save it as a file. Don't worry about those replace things. There's a few attempts at this morning. And that's that. So stop that. And our final clip, again, my apologies if this sounds rather loud. So some of you might not be able to hear anything. Some of you may be loud, so get ready. So that's the clip I've just made. Dead simple, takes a few minutes. 3 minutes in fact. You want to add some effects at the end. Again, with iMovie, if I just show you this, you may or may not be able to hear it. You've decided it's a film with a rabbit. It's got to have the Warner Brothers, that's all folks at the end of it. So what we do is just like a transition of like a circle closing around the character, so if I show you it, that's me, incidentally, that's me in the background, dressed as a carrot lying down. The things you have to do for this job. The way I did that, simply the transitions, there's a circle close thing there, and you just tell it how long that you want the sort of effect to last for. There are loads of other effects as well. You know, it's not just the one, you play with it basically. This is the sort of software you have a good play with. This thing I found, this is about the only thing that costs some money. It's called 8mm. It's an iPad app. It takes your finished film and then turns it into something that looks like it was made in the 1960s or 70s or earlier. The Lift campaign that we did, we made it look like a silent film. If I just play, there may or may not be sound on this. What it does, it takes all the scratches on the film, it makes it sort of jump about and that sort of thing. You know, and like I say, it's $1.99 or $2.99 or something like that. But we've used it a couple of times now, and it's well worth it. And we did get the college to pay for it as well, so that was quite nice. So that's that. Finally, you've got your finished edited film. Like I say, it didn't cost a lot. It's not difficult to make, and you've used all your student volunteers. You've got to get it out there now. Something that Green Gown can use. Can't really send big files, so stick it on YouTube. Now, I suggest with YouTube is that if you don't want people seeing all your home videos that you've already got on there, if you have, create yourself a new Google account and just start a new thing with that. It's all free, Google and everything. There is another thing called Vimeo as well. I've never used it. It's very similar to YouTube though. So again, you can put videos on Vimeo, send people the links to share them. Alternatively, there's Flickr as well, Yahoo's photo sharing website. You can share videos on that too. These are all places you can just share big movie files. Right, I've probably gone really fast, and hopefully you have picked up something on the way. I am quite happy for people to come at me and ask me loads and loads of questions. Like I said before, I'm quite technically literate, but I stress again, most of these applications are really, really user-friendly. My son uses them at his primary school. You know, they make little films there, so they are easily, you know, usable. All the props and everything are all free. We use locations in and around the college, which was free. And at the end of the day, you know, they gave us a shiny green award for it. Fortunately or unfortunately, we were up against an Australian entry for the international award, and they had the Prime Minister of Australia as a talking head in their award, and that was the one shown at the award show. So I'm quite glad in a way we didn't win the international one. It would have been quite embarrassing to show the rabbit hopping around the screen instead of the Prime Minister of Australia. Anyway, I'm going to pass you on to Lisa again now. So if anyone's got any questions,
Great, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Colin. I think everything, I can't tell you can't learn from that. Definitely found a way now of creating videos, so brilliant. There are a couple of questions on the chat box, so do feel free to type your questions in there, or if you want to ask a question out loud, please do. Just let me know and I'll unmute you and we can come over to you and ask a question. But first question, we've got here is, what about copyright, etc. for sound clips and the music used?
The YouTube MP3 thing, when you upload a video onto YouTube, they do censor it. So if there's anything that, you know, can't be shown in certain areas or certain countries, they will get a message saying, you know, they can't show this video in certain countries. Like I say, the whole YouTube using it to make MP3s is a grey area. If you're uncomfortable with it, then, you know, buy the songs 99p, or if you've got CDs at home, just bring the CD and import a song and do it that way. I'm not a copyright person, like lawyer or anything, so like I say, when you publish things onto YouTube, they do have banks and banks of legal people who do copyright.
I think also like YouTube, they have a very small selection of music that you can use, and most of them are generic, attach a cheesy song to a movie type music, so they are there and available, and obviously some are better than others, but I know it's one of those things that you have to be very, very careful about. So if you're not sure, absolutely look online, look at some guidance online, because more often than not, someone else has asked that question too. We've got another question from Eleanor, possibly for Helen, if her sound is working well. Helen, if you could unmute yourself. So this is Helen Exton, our Green Gown Award project manager, asking about the general time length of videos produced for the Green Gown Awards for dissemination. Helen, I have unmuted you, so try talking. There we go. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. Yes, we do ask for a video to be approximately 8 to 10 minutes in length, but there is an exception, which is for the international categories. That's continuous improvement, social responsibility, and student engagement. Because, as Colin mentioned, on the night we do show the winning international category video at the awards ceremony. It'll be a bit different this year because the international winners will be chosen in Australia. They're in Tasmania this year. But for that reason, we do ask for the video to be 1 to 2 minutes in length for those 3 categories. If you want to do another longer one, that is absolutely great. But in general, we say no more than 10 minutes. It could be 5 minutes, but roughly average is about 8 minutes or so, if that answers that question.
I think that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, with any video, you can't really expect anyone to sit there for a long time. So yeah, the shorter the better. I think it's all down to, you know, who you've got to get on the video, what the message you want to convey, and I think that comes down to your scripting process. Sometimes it's really tempting to put a lot in there, but then you kind of lose people halfway through. So short and punchy.
I do have another request though. We do ask for the videos if they can be top and tailed with the Green Gown Awards logo. I just sent Colin a little message just asking him what is the best way that that can be done. Is that with a PowerPoint?
I just insert the photo, just as a photo. I just inserted at the start of the film. Again, you import it into your editing software, drag it down at the front of your timeline or the end of your timeline. It's just quite simple, that one.
Okay, is that based on a PowerPoint slide? You'd make a.
No, I just the logos that you sent me were just JPEG.
Okay.
So you just import your JPEG into it, and then just as you're inserting a clip, it's the same way. You just either drag it down onto your timeline, or you just click on the picture and press the plus sign, and it puts it wherever the thing happens to be, the cursor.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can choose how long the picture stays on screen for. So again, if you kind of like do a 2-minute film, you just have the logo on screen for just a couple of seconds or something. And if you find you're going over a bit, you can always sort of trim those things a little.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks, Colin. Any more questions? Matt has just put on a message on there just to be doubly sure that before you're putting any music on, especially copyrighted music, please do check first, because I know if you're using images from Google or anything like that on websites, there are computer systems out there that will go and find that image, and then they will, you'll be in some trouble. So you should never use anything unless you're very, very sure before you definitely have the permission. So please just check.
When you upload a video to Google, they check all the music of the film that you are publishing. So whoever owns the copyright knows, well, somebody knows that you have put that up there with their music in.
Great, wonderful. Any other questions from people? I guess the question for me is, obviously you're going to put the video onto YouTube, and that's fantastic, but how do you then share that with your student population, with your staff, and what were the next steps for the video?
Well, we've got a Facebook page, we've got Twitter. On YouTube, just underneath the videos, there's a bit where you can just share. It just says share, and you get like a website link, or you can actually share it directly on Facebook or Twitter. We just put it out there. Basically, we sent it out to all students. The link to have a look at. We put it on the Facebook page. It's on our student website, the student union website, I should say. Most of our YouTube videos are on our student union website, so if people want to go and have a look at what we've done in the past.
Great. I think with when we put all the video and the recording of this webinar online, I will put a link to all of the videos that we've had from the last couple of years of awards. They're all on the Sustainability Exchange, but I'll put a link in there so you can go and see the rabbit in full. It's something to be seen, especially, well, yeah, as Colin said before, you will have that song in your head all day, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think choosing your music, I think, is important because, you know, that was a huge song that went perfectly with the style of the video that you were doing. It matched that the video for that song. So I think music is really, really important. So please go and have a look at Colin's video to see all of these wonderful editing software and hints and tips in real life. Dawn has just asked a question here. How much of the video is regarded as part of your nomination, as part of your entry? Helen, can you answer that, please?
I don't actually know.
No, Colin, not if you don't worry for you. I was hoping that Helen would pipe up now. Helen, you still there?
Yeah,
you're off
yes,
mute.
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, the video is not judged by judges, if that was what the question was. Judges are only looking at what they see on the paper, the application form. So this is a sort of standalone, separate entity, and it's more a way of disseminating your project so others can replicate it. Because, you know, everyone's doing the same thing, and we encourage it as much as we can. And we just think this is a great way of doing it. So when it comes to your application, it has absolutely no impact on your application at all. It's just a separate entity, and we think it's really nice to get as many videos and case studies done as possible in order to help others who are doing the same thing as you.
Well, so I don't think it's actually part of the criteria, but actually the fact that you are communicating your project on a wider scale is actually a really important part of the project's success, you know, whether that's internally or externally in the local community. You know, how you communicate the fantastic things coming out of the project, I think, is a really worthwhile thing to put into your entry. Don't want to make any major recommendations there, but I think it's not part of the criteria, as I understand, but I think it's a huge part of an entry to say if you've got a massive campaign, all of that sort of thing. I think that should be included.
And don't worry if you are sort of worrying about the actual technical side of it. You ask a media student to help. I mean, we ask various students in the college to help with different events. If it helps, give them a title, student union media consultant or something like that. But we've got plenty of volunteers who can help with us and this sort of thing. And whatever institution you are, I'm sure there are people that will probably fall over themselves to help with this sort of thing.
Absolutely. Right, are there any other questions? There's just literally one quick one from Matt, just confirming Helen. Can you, Helen, you mentioned earlier the video should be 8 to 10 minutes. Can you confirm that?
Yes, I mean, it just as a guide, you know, it's all projects are different, they're all individual, some are a bit more complex. So the guide is 8 to 10 minutes, but if it's short, it doesn't matter as long as it gets the point across. So we just give that as a guide. And as I mentioned before, the international ones are between 1 and 2 minutes, no more than 2 minutes.
And can you just confirm which the international categories again, just quickly?
Yes, continuous improvement, social responsibility, and student engagement. Those are the 3 international categories.
Incidentally, our student engagement film was 1 minute 53 seconds.
Oh, perfect.
Just a quick one from Matt saying that you can create photo slideshows on YouTube and then they're embedded on YouTube and you won't have them as a file, but you can download the video using Real Player Video Downloader. That's Real Player Video Downloader. Colin, did you have any problems? I know obviously EAUC, we're based in an institution, so we have the systems that the institution provides, and sometimes we have problems downloading outside software that, you know, they obviously monitor a lot and we don't have administration rights. Did you come across any problems such as that?
The stuff things like free make, everything I've actually mentioned today is we just ask the college if there's like a small program that you want. You just ask them, they'll just install it on. They just put it across all the computers. Things like FreeMake and Photo Story, Audacity are already available on our college systems for anyone to use. It's just a case of making a request. there
Great.
isn't really anything I've had any issues with. And like I say, a lot of these free things like Audacity make are more for PCs. They don't tend to work on Macs.
Okay. Great. So if you want to use something, the first thing to do is go and ask your IT people, and I'm sure they will help or have some software that's similar that you can use. And likewise, if you happen to have courses at your institution that have film students and have super software, then sometimes you can book the room out and that sort of thing. So just have a chat with the people internally that can help. So if there's no more questions, I think we'll close it there. I didn't say earlier, which I should really have said, that most of you are Green Gun Award finalists 2014, obviously the reason for this video. So I just want to say a big congratulations on behalf of EAUC and obviously everybody else. So congratulations. Good luck with your stage 2 entries. If you have any more questions for Colin, I'm sure we can ask them offline. We'll have this video recorded, which will hopefully be on the website later on today. So we convert this file, we put it onto YouTube, and then we embed it onto our website. So very, very similar process. We don't do much editing, but the WebEx that we use for webinars does all that for us, so which is great. And we'll be sending out a short survey afterwards as well. So huge thank you to Colin and to Helen for being online. Thank you to all of you, and I will see you on the next webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.